My mama got in some kind of a program that helped her buy a house, first time home buyer program. And let me tell you something. The houses, now this is what's really fucked up too, and this pisses me off. I'm trying not to rant too much on it. The houses that these realtors showed my mother, being they knew like this was before the internet. You couldn't get online and find houses. You had to ride around with the damn real estate agent, right? So the real estate agent knew my mama was poor because of the neighborhood that he was picking her up and, driving her to all these houses, right? And it's like he only showed us houses in the hood, no matter which part of town we went to, whether it be the projects, like I forget that area, but once you pass the Charles Houston, and it's over on the right where most of the people own their homes. You remember where Mike, what's his name, Mike Clark used to live, or his
Yeah,
people
but you
used
know
to
what?
stay?
If it was funny, real quick, my family had a house like that on the south side off St. Asaph Street, and um Banks family had a house right over there. So man,
Yeah.
if your mom would have bought that house probably worth about $800,000 now.
Shit, the house that she did end up getting, man, that joint was worth about 450 at its peak. But back then they were shitty houses,
Yeah,
and
no. Back then, people was like, "Don't nobody want to live." Nobody want to live in Old Town.
uh
Now, if
huh,
you say Old Town, people are like, "Damn, you live in Old Town?"
y'all rich, and damn straight y'all rich. But we were riding around neighborhood to neighborhood. We never once looked at a halfway decent house. And back then in the 90s, this was 93. I forget, I was probably like 10, 11 years old. Shit, yeah, I would have been, yeah, about 10 years old. But I never forget looking back now, the difference between a house that cost, let's say $100,000 back then, right? 80 to $100,000, and a house that cost 140, 150 ish. There was a huge difference, man. We're talking about 130, 140, 150 back home back in the early 90s would have got you a single family house in a halfway decent neighborhood, but nah, didn't bother showing her any of those. They only showed her houses in bad, like just rundown neighborhoods. I look at that shit now and it makes me angry because there were lots of options because my mama ended up paying $110,000 for that house in Del Rey. That house wasn't worth $110,000. That house might have been worth 90, but she was taken advantage of. She has never been, even to this day, has never been financially literate, which is why I'm so like hell bent on being financially literate and not blowing money or recklessly spending money, right?
Dan,
So,
real quick. For
go ahead.
those that don't know Dan has always reminded me of Terry Crews from Everybody Hates Chris. I'm trying to tell you, if you don't know, this dude can pinch a penny like no other. I'm
I can make
like,
change from a
man,
penny.
I'm telling you, he can make change from a penny. And it's always been that way, man. I'm even going back to, if you give Dan $5 and then he buys you a drink from Burger King for 50 cents, and then buys you a Snickers bar 2 weeks later for 75 cents. That's part of that money that he's paying you back from that five you gave him. He know how to save some money.
Hell yeah, man. I've always been like that because I told myself I would never be like my mother as far as being financially illiterate. And you know what? That's not to say that I'm some damn finance guru, but I can tell you I know how to hold on to money. And like, during that time I watched so many people take advantage of her. Car dealers, like she she ended up making a little more money in the government after she got a raise in her grade. And with more money, like most poor people, you want to buy more things and nicer things. So she went out, wanted to buy a nice car. She ended up with another damn Pontiac. She got a Grand Prix, a 90 something Grand Prix. And it's like a lot of the money she blew, and I watched her get taken advantage of. Credit card debt out of this world. So I forget where I was going, but what I'll say is I met P around this time at GW, and like thanks to P, I started smoking cigarettes, started smoking weed, and I
I was a
forget.
bad influence on everybody, man.
Hell yeah, man! Like everyone thought you was like like 20 years old in the 8th grade, like Marcel. What's his name? Marcellus? Marcel? What's that nigga name?
Like Marcel, yeah.